So these are the average salaries in the NFL when it comes to the quarterback, the wide receiver, and the cornerback position. Quarterbacks on average are paid $8 million per year. Receivers are paid $2.8 million a year. Now, cornerbacks are paid about $2.2 million a year. Now, when we go up on the high-end receivers and the high-end cornerbacks, the high-end receiver on average is getting paid $30 million per year, whilst the high-end cornerback is getting paid about $20 million per year. Now, in today's video, I want to look over whether or not cornerbacks should be paid or valued more than wide receivers. I think this is a part of the NFL that is very confusing, but as a watcher of the game and someone that do love football and watch almost every single game on Sunday and Thursday and Monday, I do believe that cornerback have a harder job than wide receivers, and I want to make that argument in today's video. But hey, if you guys are interested in that, consider sticking around for this one. It's going to be a cool little deep dive. All right, if you're new to the channel, stick around for the video and subscribe, my boy. What else you got to do? Just press the button, like the video. Let's get into it. Now, I want to start by giving you guys some good examples about cornerbacks over the past couple of years. Now, in 2022, Jalen Ramsey was one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. Okay, Jalen Ramsey had a completion rate of about 54%. He had about 18 pass breakups. That's how good Jalen Ramsey is. Jalen Ramsey is one of those game changers on the field. All right, he's a cornerback and he has more of an impact on the game than any receiver. He can change a game on the dot, on the spot, because he is elite at that. Now, when we take a look at another cornerback in Sauce Gardner, one of the great cornerbacks in this league who's proven himself and really stamped his authority on a really great defense at the New York Jets. Now, in 2022, Sauce Gardner had about 20 passes defended, which led the league, and he also had a completion rate allowed of about 45%. The Jets defense, guys, had a great improvement from 32 to 4th in scoring defense, with Sauce Gardner being added on this team. Now, when we take a look at another cornerback in the league, also in Trevon Diggs, who in 2021 had about 11 interceptions, which led the league. And guys, interceptions are so valuable in the NFL. They literally change games. They're the most important thing when it comes to changing game scripts, and he led the league in that. That's how valuable he was at this position. Guys, these are just some of the notable cornerbacks, the guys that do actually get paid, and their impact that they have on teams. And these guys are elite, okay, and they deserve their money. And I'm also going to go over some examples of receivers who do help their team. This is not a video to bash on receivers. I want to see these guys get paid, but cornerbacks are doing so much for teams. They are literally changing games because of how valuable their position is. Just the athleticism to play cornerback, all that requirement is a lot higher than most of these positions, especially when we think about the mental side of the game when you're a cornerback as well. All these things are very important, and it's very key that these teams take that into account when it comes to structuring contracts. Now, when we start looking at receivers, right, look into the case of Justin Jefferson, who had a total receiving yards in 2022 of about 1,800. He led the league. Reception about 128, yards per route run 2.6, which is highest among wide receiver. And you can argue that he does deserve his contract right now, being one of the highest paid, actually the highest paid receiver in the NFL. Same exact thing can be said about a guy like Cooper Kupp, who in 2021, guys, had about 1,900 receiving yards, led the league literally in this category, and this contributed very significantly to the Rams winning the Super Bowl that year. So all of this is to show that these positions have huge impacts on how teams perform and where teams go. You can literally win a Super Bowl by having a good receiver. All right, these positions are very key for a team. And now I want to take this a step further, because I want to look into what position is actually more important amongst these two to actually win games and make it to a Super Bowl and win a championship. Now, when we look at position dependency comparison between these two positions, we can clearly see that wide receivers are highly dependent on quarterback play and the offensive line support. So even elite wide receivers, guys, can struggle without a quality quarterback. And all of this can get a lot worse if you don't invest in a good O-line. So the wide receiver position is highly dependent on other factors on the team. Ask yourself this: if if you're a GM, if you're a coach, if you're a passionate fan about a team, do you want to invest a lot of your capital in a position that is highly dependent on all these other factors? Compare now to the cornerback position. Now, the cornerback position are generally less dependent on their team's performance, often matched by one-on-one with the top receiver on the other team, allowing their individual talents to shine and directly affect the offense's outcome. Guys, the cornerback position is so lonely.
For me, the cornerback is the most lonely, difficult position in football.
For sure.
Not even close.
Man, it's different on that island, bro.
It's one of the most lonely positions in sports, and it's all about the quality of the player. Yeah, some of you may say having a decent pass rush could help the cornerbacks because they don't have to guard for as long, but if you have a good cornerback, that receiver is getting blanketed. If you have a good cornerback, you're getting picks. If you have a good cornerback, he's mossing guys. It doesn't matter about whatever else your team is. A good cornerback can take your team to a Super Bowl because of the player alone, is not because of the team. These are things you consider when you go into picking players, when you go into the draft, when you look at the overall value of a player to an offense. Not to an offense, but to an overall team. I can make mistakes, guys. Relax. Now, another huge thing I want to look at here, guys, is the talent pool and the depth when it comes to wide receivers and cornerback. Okay, let's start with wide receivers. When it comes to wide receiver, and when we look at colleges right now, guys, college football has shifted towards a pass-heavy offensive schemes. All right, most of the offenses in college football are very pass-heavy, and this has created a steady influx of NFL-ready wide receivers every draft. This is literally giving teams wide receivers for cheap. Teams can wait now into the 5th round and get a Puka Nacua, who could be literally on the level of Justin Jefferson. But the literal opposite, guys, can be said about cornerbacks, guys. Elite shutdown cornerbacks are a lot rarer than these wide receivers. Their position demands so much, both exceptional athleticism, advanced game IQ. So the scarcity in a high-level cornerback is a key reason why their value right now keeps increasing draft after draft. So that is as clear as day. Anyone with a fully functioning brain can see that a cornerback is way more valuable in the draft than a receiver. And I'm even gonna go a step further, guys, and show you guys how the draft has literally changed over the past decade because of the importance of cornerback. But we haven't seen this change in the salary structure yet, and that has to be talked about. Over the last decade, top cornerbacks are consistently selected in the top 10, especially as NFL offenses has increased the passing game. We're literally passing the ball more in the NFL because of the influx of receivers that we have in the league. So now these cornerbacks are so valuable because teams have to counter all these elite 4-4 athletes. They need these cornerbacks. They need these smart guys who are playing one of the hardest positions in all the sport, a position that literally rival quarterback for difficulty in terms of brain power and literal mental understanding of the game. You need an athlete, you need a genius to play cornerback. All of these things are just pushing us down this rabbit hole that I'm taking y'all down to show that cornerbacks are so important to a team success going anywhere they want to go. Now, in order to cap this off, guys, we got to talk about how each of these positions actually impact their team. Which one of these positions have a higher impact on whether or not a team is going to win in a specific week or not? Is it the wide receiver or is it the cornerback? Now, for what I've said so far, you obviously are thinking right now that it is the cornerback, and you are right. You are 100% right, because this position is too slept on. Now, when we actually look at this, team win approximately 80% of the time when their defense hold the opposing quarterback to a completion rate under 50%, emphasizing the high importance, the high value of a cornerback, especially a cornerback that can catch picks and interceptions. Now, NFL teams currently pass on average 35 to 40 times per game, making it increasingly more important for defenses to have strong cornerbacks to actually counter the passing game now. All of these are huge reasons to actually invest in your cornerback more. All of these show that though you're getting all these receivers who are coming in left and right from college and being very talented and doing all the crazy catches, is you want to invest more in these cornerbacks who can stop these guys, because also their position is so rare and it's so valuable to the team's overall success. Yes, you want good receivers. Yes, you want all these guys to be on your team and to be good and to be doing their jobs. But I'm not gonna lie to you, having a good cornerback is so much more important. And right now it's criminal. It's actually an offense to me and every NFL fan. It's actually an offense to me and every athlete out there to see cornerbacks not getting the pays that they deserve. These guys should be one of the highest people paid in the NFL after quarterbacks, and there's no question to that. That is 100% factual, and the fact that this isn't happening right now is insulting to me. That's why I made this video, to have this at least out there, a voice for these cornerbacks, a voice for these players who are so key, who are so important to these teams. So what do y'all think about all this? Did I just yap for no reason? I don't know. I think I actually had an impact today on the league. Without further ado though, peace out. Love you guys. Subscribe. Mwah.